It's live.
We're live.
There you go. Well,
How about that?
I'm Sean,
I'm Dave.
I'm Maurice.
and we're in the bullpen one more time, episode 3. If nothing else, we're proving that we're nimble. We can pivot. We're out of the studio. We're on location here at Monty's.
On the road.
And, as we said, turn your sound down, and it wasn't me. Anyway, so it might be Arette. Is it Arette's sound? Oh, it's on his phone. Anyway, it's all good.
It's not me, buddy.
No?
Not me.
All right, so we got a couple of very special guests here with us. We're very excited.
We are.
We have the handsome Arette
How you
and the
doing,
wonderful and
Right
fragrant Nancy Nazarian. We're here on location at Monty's.
Can you say fragrant on the air?
Fragrant?
We can
Sure
say,
you can.
We can say that in the air.
100%.
That's awesome.
100%. Welcome.
Thanks, guys.
How are we?
Great.
We're great. Thank you.
It's so
Thanks for
awesome having
us.
you guys on tonight.
We sure appreciate you share your abode with us in the Barstools Bullpen.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, we thought it was long overdue. I mean, we've been doing a lot of stuff here since the summer.
Yep.
July 25th, we had that big show that was great, and we watched this place do really well till December when everything shut down, and then February 12th, which was last weekend, 2 weekends ago now. Dress to Kill, which was a Barstools and Band Talk promotion, killed it,
Yep.
so to speak.
Sold out.
Sold out show, first one. Gypsy last weekend, 2 nights, sold out. Side Hustle,
Side Hustle coming up this weekend, the 27th,
sold out.
6:30 start.
So my first question is, this is getting boring. I mean, you guys just keep selling out and selling out and selling out.
It's never
What-
boring.
No, why do you? What do you think the reason is for that? I mean, obviously people want to see live music, but what do you think's going on with that?
It's time for people to get out. For sure, they want to see live music, and if you want to see live music, I think our stage is the stage to see
No question.
quality live music,
No question.
right?
What do you think, Arette?
Oh, same thing. Same here. I think people have gotten cabin fever all these months here, and I think it's just glad. They're just glad that the regulations have relaxed enough to be allowed. Even we can't dance, we can't move, or hardly do
Yeah.
anything, but at least we get out and see some live music, man. It's awesome.
How are the patrons behaving now? Have you found that everything's going well? Are they adhering to the rules okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you guys are being rather humble too. I think it's a lot. It's not just about the people. I think it's you guys have done remarkable amount of work to make this happen. I'm sure when the Barstools and Band Talk show happened in last summer, was that the first ticketed event that happened in the city?
Yeah.
In the summer?
The
It
show,
might
the
have been,
Barstool.
yeah, it might
I
have
mean,
been
there was
the first one.
I was playing on stools by then, my solo gigs, but there was no ticketed events, and that's you guys were like a litmus test for this, and I'm sure there was a lot of people watching you, and you probably knew that, and you guys hit it out of the park. So, I mean, it was a safety factor. We all felt safe, but you guys had it down way before. I mean, like somebody had to take the ball, and you guys did. And it wasn't just the people. I mean, really, I think it was the way you guys set that up. It set the example so that there was going to be a second one somewhere, anywhere, And I think that could have gone south real easy if if it had. And you guys were well prepared. I think you guys deserve a lot of credit for that, for doing this.
Round of applause for the Nazarians.
Right.
Well, that's all Nancy. I think Nancy's got her ear to the ground with all the regulations, and she's trying to do her best here, trying to control, make sure we follow all the regulations. That's all on Nancy's end for sure. But yeah, it is the way we're doing it. I think Nancy will agree. We're almost doing it like a wedding now. We book tables of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you just sort of pay online, and you come in, you give your name, and you're escorted to your table, and we go from there. So yeah, it's all Nancy on that end for sure.
So how much, because you and I have worked on a couple shows, and the first one was, you know what, we're not going to do it this way the next time. But how much work's going into this? Because
A lot of work goes into it because you have people that are emailing and saying, I'm looking for a table of 4. Can you accommodate us? Yes, sure, no problem. I'll reserve your table, but e-transfer so-and-so, this much for your table. So, usually 90% of the time you get your e-transfers within that first half hour, but then there's a couple of times that you're waiting 2 days, 4 days, a week, And then you get that text message, do you know this person? Can you reach out to them for me, or I'm going to have to give up their table?
For the record, they're always Dave's friends. They're never mine.
But yeah,
They pay.
it just makes it's worth it, because at the end of the day, like Arette said, they come to the door, they give me their name, all their contacts, phone numbers is already there, and it is like a wedding. You're going to table 12, you're going to table 13. It's very easy. You're seated within like 30 seconds.
Right
so
on.
it works out great.
So here's the interesting thing. So we were at the Dress to Kill show. We were to the Gypsy show on Friday night. It feels different, but it's also fun. I think people are just happy to be out, but it's, everybody's very well behaved. Not like the first one when it opened up where you would have some people maybe dancing, I'm not going to say on the tables, but at the tables. The last couple of shows that I was at, everybody was very well behaved.
Yeah.
And I think, this is just me, but I think they realized, okay, this time we have to take it seriously and really
100%.
do our best.
Because even when we opened up in January, that's the first thing I said to you that first night. Is like, they're coming in, the ones that you were chasing throughout the bar. It's like, put on your mask, no
Yeah.
standing, you have to sit down. Now they're coming in, their mask is on. They get up from the table to go out or to go to the washroom, and they have their mask on before they actually move away from their table, or before they'd be halfway out the door.
To be
and still
fair, a
in the
lot of
mask.
folks hadn't been out. Like they hadn't been out for a long time. Maybe the Gypsy show was the first time out, or maybe
Yeah.
it was Just to Kill was their first time out. And we try to prepare them a little bit by giving them some videos and giving some tips. Like, don't try to get in this bar
Yeah.
without wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Don't dance because you just can't. It's not your rules. You're not trying to police them. It's the provincial regulations.
Yeah.
And it's
You're
just
trying
we
not
want
to
be
get shut
safe.
down, that's
well,
right.
this is it's your livelihood too.
Yeah.
Without question, it is. And you're going to have to ask them to sit down or settle down, or they're going to have to leave because it is your livelihood.
Yeah.
That's fair, right?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
So, running a business, your business in this new era, and I will say the new premium, I got on my pseudo whiteboard.
Yeah.
He was sworn in today. He gave his speech. There was all kinds of stuff about green this and green that, trying to recover the new the economy and whatever. There wasn't anything
About entertainment.
about entertainment
Or the service industry in
or
general.
the service industry. I hope it's not the same old of the same old. But then I look at who he swore in as some of the ministers, and again, I got to keep an open mind. But what are your thoughts on that? Because we talked a lot about when. We were getting calls from people that had bars that didn't know the rules. And it's like, it's sad if you're asking Dave and I what the rules are,
Yeah.
and you don't have anybody go to, just, what do you guys think about that and how it's rolled out both times?
I don't know.
What's your resources? Like, do you have a go-to person?
This is great to have
No.
someone to ask. Yeah.
It's
Well-
just whatever they're announcing on the news, the website, that's it.
Restaurants Canada, it's
So listen-
Canada's a big
associations that are
So it's
involved
exactly-
in
Yeah.
the food and beverage industry. They're pretty good. They were pretty good. So we got our ear to the ground with Restaurants Canada. But I mean,
Anyone can go on that website, though. Like, all the information we get, anyone can get the
the
same
same information we're all getting, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not like it's.
And sometimes I find the provincial information, there's just so much information. It's challenging, and it's probably nobody's fault, but it's just so much information. And when it's changing like that, often it's just so hard to get a straight message across. So when we're looking for targeted information regarding the the restaurant, the bar, the entertainment industry, sometimes you read something about public gatherings. You're not sure if it applies to
you,
the
yeah.
to the indoor bar. Is it only outdoor gatherings they're talking about? So
Well, people were scared to go because they were scared you can't go to a bar. It's going to exceed that 50 decibel
Yeah,
rating. That was for a mall, right? But
Yeah,
but it was vague enough
exactly.
that you
Yeah.
didn't know, right?
Exactly. I wish they would the information would come out in industry targeted format.
Thank
So
you. That's what we've been
bars,
saying.
restaurants, there's the information you need to
Yeah.
more. Malls, here's the information.
Yeah.
Doctors' offices, here's
Yep.
the information. So you don't have to kind of figure it out for yourself on the fly.
And honestly, no one's out there trying to cheat the rules. There's people out there that always will, but by and large, we're all just trying to make a living. No one's trying to cheat the rules here. We just want to know the rules. We want to know what we can do, what we can't do, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to go with them. In almost every case, of every place that I play or every bar I've been into, and we've come a long way in a year too. Like, we literally are so used to, like, very few people leave their mask behind when they walk across the parking lot anymore. That was a joke for a while.
Yeah.
But we've come a long way. Like, I put a mask on when I go to the drive-through because the lady at the Tim Hortons window, it's a gesture of it's just like
Courtesy.
it's a courtesy
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We've come that far. So no one's out there trying to, like, cheat. We just want this done with, and we have to learn to live with the pandemic for a while. But that's what I was thinking. Like, with everybody's saying, like, everybody's getting the same batch of information, and, like, for example, then you got to consider, like, what applies to you and what applies, because I was watching a news report the other day, and this is where it's going to get really the theaters are opening up, and Neptune Theater is going to open up, and yet you can still only have 10 people in a church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where does that, what is it, a house of worship? Is it a theater? Whatever. Like, if you can have 100 people in one room separated by 6 feet and you have 300 chairs, if you have a church pew and you skip a church pew and you're 6 feet away, how come you can't?
What's the rules of the hockey game now? Something changed that way too, did it not? Or?
Well, it went back, I believe, to the old one where you could have, I think it was 200 people in a section, but they had to stay in the section.
Yeah. But people are just guessing because there's nothing, you know what I mean? And then some people feel like they're being discriminated because, because the rules apply to one group and not to others. And it does make it very difficult. And the government, like, they're concerned about the green technology. They're concerned about this, that, the other thing. But the economy and the service industry is a very, very tightly, you have to learn how to get this thing going so that everybody can move again safely, within reason.
Well, I want to see one and raise one because Neptune applied for, there's a fund that you can get through HRM, and they applied for $100,000 for some operating capital to get through. I will not name the counselor. He and I have texted. But his line in the press was that he doesn't believe HRM should be in the COVID rebuilding business. To which my whole thought is, well, you guys already are as soon as you tell people they can't do stuff and you keep getting paid. So that's the wrong message to be sending to businesses that are trying to, keep these guys' tax dollars.
Well, let's take arts and entertainment over for a second. You guys are a small business. So, I mean, you have bills, you have rent or mortgage, I guess rent here. You have staff to have to keep, to employ. Yeah, you take your $40,000 loan that you can pay back in the next amount of time, not pay any interest on it. But there's real operating costs to your small business. Now, I think you and I talked about this before, Nancy. Maybe you had the numbers, I can't remember. How many days during 2020 were you shut down? Or how many weeks, I guess?
In 2020, well, it was March 16th, and we opened up in a week after, so June 11th. Right, and then we closed again November 24th. We closed before the 26th, I think. The
24th.
So you're 5 months, pretty much.
Yeah.
You're saying 5 months.
Yeah.
And you're not. And the thing is, the economy didn't shut down around you. Like
No.
the bills are still coming in, and that's what's that's the hard part. That's why I thought it was very important that you guys do this show tonight, for people to understand. We hear about it on the news, and the small businesses are struggling, and bars and restaurants and all that, But and we get sent home on a pittance from the government for a little bit of money and all that to stay home and all that. But you guys have there's a program that you guys can have, but it doesn't come close to saving your business. And you got to keep this place going. And you got leases. You got one of the finest nightclubs around. You got a lot of equipment in here that you just don't go pay cash for. Like it's like not just operating costs, but like you're known for this. I mean, you got some of the finest sound and lighting equipment, and you're known for it. And they don't stop. Those bills don't stop either when you're shut down. Like everything, you can turn the power off, but it's a huge amount of cost. And whether it's a bar of this size or the other side, and that's the other thing I was going to ask you. When you do open and you do have these events, and let's say it sells out, and you've been doing great, and we'll get to that about the selling out and about that part, but the fact of the matter is you're at almost half capacity.
Not even half.
Not even.
About a quarter.
Quarter
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah.
How much drinks and food do you have to sell to meet some sort of the operating level that you're even remotely used to making before the pandemic? Like
66% more, probably.
and then you're laughing because that's probably the running joke about this
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I
It's a
think,
sellout,
I-
but you're still probably.
I
losing
think
your
we're
shit.
just treading water, to be honest with you. It's a matter of treading water. I mean, there were some of the small business loans were out there that we got some of the small business loans. Some of it's forgivable. There was the other. Speaking of keeping our ear to the ground, there's all the other government-sponsored subsidies out there. The wage subsidy, which is meant to bring our employees back, which we
Absolutely.
have done, and the government pays us a portion of that of those salaries we're paying out, and then there's the rent subsidy that kicks in as well. That used to be in conjunction with the landlords, and now they've taken the landlords out of the mix, and we're just dealing directly now with the federal government, which is great because landlords have bills as well.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
wasn't really
Yeah.
fair for them to
Yeah.
take the hit. They have mortgages, and so it's great now that it's they're out of the mix now. So without those things,
You'd be
without
done.
without the small business loan and those subsidies,
You'd be done.
wouldn't
there's
be.
no business.
And
I
that's
don't
what-
think
and
there's
that's-
no business that
But
would
isn't
have
it-
been able to survive.
But isn't it cruel though that they'll shut down a swath of the entire economy, being the unimportant,
Non-essential.
non-essential
Yeah.
businesses, who actually probably employ a very large part of our economy and our people, and yet they don't shut the economy down.
Yeah.
Like if you just shut everything down for those 2 first months of the pandemic, said like, everybody stay home, blah blah blah, and whatever they got to do. And
The
shut
frustrating
entire
part for me is that
is that they
you-
didn't do that, and so we basically that's what happened.
But you look at a place like Monty's or a place like Parkside or a place like Colleen's over here or any of these restaurants that they're because it's not just a bar like a nightclub you have there. You have a full-fledged family restaurant here too.
Yeah.
Yet you can go to the Halifax Shopping Center where people were on top of each other, eating and breathing and spitting, and Lord God knows what else. The food, and it's like, well, what's the parallel? Why'd you rather? Because it was Christmas time and there's money to be made, right?
Yeah.
So that was the thing that ticked me off, to be honest. It wasn't an equal playing field for everybody.
Yeah, the inconsistencies is frustrating. I'll call them inconsistencies. Maybe there's a better word for it. That part of it's definitely frustrating when you feel like you're being targeted in a way for being in the nightclub or
Sure.
bar business. I think that's out there. I don't think I'm saying any secrets here. I think this is one of the industries I think they want to keep control of because they have this thought that a lot of the issues are going to come out of this where our patrons are great. Everyone's following the rules. This is we haven't had any issues whatsoever here, but we still, but it's the same thing. It goes with the consistency thing. Like we're talking about sports arenas. Well, why are they allowed to do that? Why don't we just make a set of rules that applies to everybody?
Yeah.
If there's social distancing, everyone's got to be 6 foot apart. Everyone's got to wear a mask. So if we can keep everyone 6 feet apart here, let's go for it. If they can do it at a sports arena and a church, and the key was going to be minimizing the guidelines and just making sure everyone's following those system of guidelines that would work for all. That way, we wouldn't have to interpret them how they apply to us
That's
and how they
100%.
apply to.
And changing the rules along the way is a hard way to get people to comply. For example, I forget it was Czechoslovakia. They're one of the Czech Republic, or whatever. I guess it'd be Czech Republic. Well, it was one of those countries, and they started off when the pandemic started. The first thing they did is they told everybody right off the bat, doesn't matter if it's a homemade mask, cloth mask, medical mask, just wear a mask, and it became a fashion statement. Very quickly, they started making fashionable masks. Well, everybody's doing it now, but they were the first ones to do it. Our government was telling us not to wear a mask because the PPE was needed for emergency staff, and then came time around as we're going to wear a mask. It's like, okay, how come it wasn't proper to wear a mask before and now it is? And so you at a very early time in this, they were telling us to do things differently. So right off the bat, confusion started early. And like you say, if you made a consistent kind of thing, like just make everybody 6 feet apart, just set the rules like that. I mean, I think you probably would end up with almost the same results. And I'm not saying that we did a bad job in this country. I mean, we're doing what we're going to do. I mean, we've had got our numbers too. And Canadians are nice people, and they generally comply, and we generally don't kick up much of a stink, and really, so that's we're lucky that way. And then of course, Nova Scotia being this blessed bubble that we're in.
Well, Sean and I were chastised. So we were around,
Yeah.
during our event, the masks were not necessary. Now, the next week, when Razor Boy
July
played here, they
31st.
were. So we were going around, we were taking some video of different bands, and we were getting people from Ontario saying, "Where's your mask?" It's like, well, it's not a law here. We don't have to.
It's not a
we're-
Canadian
We're
law.
trying to preserve it for the first
Hospitals,
responders.
yeah.
So. But then it's like, well, so now we're kind of off, the video a little bit because it's like you don't know who you're going to offend that way. We are lucky here. We're blessed here. We're following the rules as best we can. But it's a global pandemic, and everyone, I think, and Aaron...
Everybody's got a different way of dealing with it.
Aaron Benjamin had a good point there last week. Everyone has a different experience, right? So each territory, each province, each country, each person has a different experience during this pandemic. So like we're not no one wants to judge. We're all in it together, but like we should probably try to work together a little bit. Now, so far as businesses go, I don't think it's. I'm not getting the feeling that we're all in it together. I think somebody else is doing.
Well, you know
okay
what?
and
I
we're
got a
not.
prediction. I was going to ask, do we have any people rolling in with comments? I'm blind. But before you do that, I'm gonna make a prediction. All right, and I'm a lot smarter than I look. But a lot of these guys that and we'll say politicians that are causing the confusion and stuff now will be the first ones when everything opens up again that will be backslapping and hanging out with all their buddies in all the patios in Halifax.
Oh, yeah.
I know it. I've seen it 1,000 times. If it doesn't happen, come up and challenge me on it. But that to me is even more frustrating because all we want these guys to do is let us have a voice to tell them and help them to get what's going to happen a year from now. Right, and they just don't want to seem to take the feedback. So, are we getting any comments there on the?
Well, we got the one about we're talking about hockey rinks. Our public capacity rink is
This is Kevin.
one is
Kevin
for,
Belding.
yeah, is 100 people for minor hockey, and then the big rink, and in the big rink, and 75 in a smaller rink. Is it this? Is it cubic feet that deems this, or
That's what I'm trying to figure out. How do you know? How can you put a fixed number of 100 when you don't know the volume or square footage?
You should
in
ask
the
the
place?
dog catcher, right? Ask the dog
I
catcher.
mean,
Well,
why
I mean-
can't we just stick to 6 feet? 6 feet and wear your masks.
6 feet? And
I
where
was
you
at a
at?
rink last night, and you got to go in one door, you got to go out the other door. You have to go anyway. It means something to somebody, and I think that
and somebody's trying. Somebody's trying.
100%. But the whole full transparency thing. If they were being fully transparent, people could understand. They probably wouldn't question, and they would embrace it. They wouldn't, be trying to do that. Any other comments, there, guys? While we're
They want us to put the petition back up. I'm just going to get the link for the petition up there.
okay, we'll do that. Interesting to note that there was another petition going on. You know what? I want to hit on something that I read this morning because I want to get everybody's feedback on this. The city of Hamilton passed a bylaw this week. It passed 15-2. And basically what it said was any musician that plays a city-sanctioned event deserves a fair wage for their time. So 15 councillors said yes, 2 said no. And the 2 that said no basically said, well, the musicians come and ask to play for free. So it was kind of that whole, hey, you know what, do it for the exposure thing. I thought that was pretty cutting edge. I thought that was really something that I hope you would see roll out, across the way. So if you're going to do something at a city-run event and I'm putting the event on, I know that whatever I get for sponsors, part of that money has to go to actually pay the entertainment. Yeah. As musicians, what do you think about that?
Well, if it's fair and it's consistent and it removes the everybody knows what's going on. Then it would be a consistent thing across the board at an agreed to amount. You know what I mean? But the thing is about musicians and about the entertainment, which is very unique. It's a unique industry that it's one of those industries like there's only one Maurice Coyne. There's only one Elton John. There's only one of everybody. And
I like how you put yourself there.
Absolutely.
Nicely played.
Yeah. But I mean, I have my value, right? But then I know how many.
And it's
I know
marginally more than Elton John.
Well, I wouldn't say. But you know what? My point is like, okay, for example, I remember I had this discussion before. Somebody was asking about booking the band, and they said I gave them the price. And they said, well, so that we pay this much for so many guys. I said, yeah, but would you pay the same price for a 300-piece orchestra that you would for Elton John doing a solo gig? It's all about ticket. It's all about the value of the show.
That's right.
You pay by the guys, by the number of the people. Like there's so many different ways to slice it. The value of entertainment is the value that you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Like
I'll tell you this.
Like Taylor Swift is going to sell more tickets than the Maurice Coyne. You know what I mean? That's simple as that.
Well, she shouldn't. But anyway, I'll tell you what I like. So we've been doing the shows here at Monty's. And this was the first one you mentioned, an event ticket. You got to work a little bit. You got to go out there and promote your show.
I'm glad we're going down this way. I was going to bring this up tonight.
Right?
Yeah.
But you're in a partnership with the venue because you got to work just as hard as they do.
That's right.
I'm some of my musician friends might get a little mad at me, but I think gone are the days where you get your money and say, "Hey, club, you promote it and get the butts in the seats. We just show up and play." I don't think that flies anymore. I think when people started playing for less money than other people, that's when that went out the window. Won't get on that soapbox. However, what I like about this format is you set your price, you know how much you're going to get for all your tickets, and then you go, I got to pay this, pay this. You know exactly what you're going to take from the show if you have a sellout.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty good. I
Pretty
like
slick.
it. And you know what?
Pretty
It's sharpened a tool in me that I knew I've used to do. But the whole promo thing and hustle for it's, you know,
Well, you know how
It's
it
a lot
is.
of fun.
What's your thought, Nancy? Like Nancy, never like this is your gig. Like so this must be a little bit easier than it was back in the day for you folks. When you have folks that are hustling, if you will.
Exactly. Personally, I love it. The bands are working just as hard as we're working to promote the show. And I don't know if I should say it or not, but I will. Half the time, the bands that are playing are making double what their guarantee was.
Like
from
the old
ticket
days, yes,
sales.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to
So
get at. Yeah.
there you go.
When you're talking,
And-
wait, sorry.
Sorry, ticket sales are going. 100% of the ticket sales
Yeah,
are going to
that's
the
right,
band,
right.
not to the venue.
No, that's great.
Fast forward now, so maybe we're at half, maybe we're at 3/4 capacity. Do you think we had the same amount of success?
Well, I hope
Yeah.
we can keep it going. I mean, it's hard to say. We can't tell what the future brings.
Sure.
It's a whole different set of circumstances there. But hopefully, we can learn from what we're doing here and apply it to the future. Whatever normal is going to be for us
Yeah.
in a year, in 2 years, because it seems to be working great. To be honest, the bands, from what I'm seeing, the bands that are playing here are hustling, and they're making more money now than they were making pre-COVID, to be quite honest.
Well, every show is an
but they're
event.
working for it. They're
Every
working
show's
for
an
it.
event,
No,
right?
for sure. The circumstances have changed the way the bands are approaching the shows, but I dare say it's paying off. It's paying off.
And it's kind of nice. I'll tell you. Back in the day, and I'm talking back when I broke into this, when I started playing music, and back when the early days when every bar had a lineup every weekend before there was MTV and before there was all the internet and all that, and everybody went out every weekend. Yes, it was different, but like everything else, things change, and you have to learn to roll with it. Now, when it comes down to promoting, and this is a perfect example, this bar, because I've played here many times over the years. When you basically come in, you had a guaranteed amount, you came in and played. And it was so hit and miss because sometimes you come in and it wouldn't be a big crowd, and it would be a shame because it's a beautiful room with a great sound and great lights. But I mean, for years, people, Monty's, where's that at? Like people just weren't really but now you're promoting shows and they catch the promotion, and even if they've never been here before, they come in here. Wow, this is what this place is all about. But they came here because it was promoted, and like you say, not just you guys have to promote it, the artists have to promote it. And that is one thing. The pandemic has changed a few things that won't go back to the way they were. And I think you're going to see that people promoting shows. Now, when you're going back to what you were saying, when you know X amount of dollars it's like one of the things I always ask when I'm hired, when they ask you how much do you charge, I say, well, first of all, what's your ticket amount? What's your capacity? You go, it's like you have to know what the capacity of the event would be to base any kind of thing on. So once again, the bands are having a bit of a break here because right now, because of the pandemic and the lack of venues such as this, like you guys have the luxury, you can come in one door, you have lots of room to flow, you can go. You're very lucky that way. So even with diminished seating, you still have a decent sized room with nice sight lines. But with minimum capacity, the ticket sales, there's less tickets to sell. But I think people are have gotten over the fact, bitching about paying $7 to see a band. You know what? $20 is worth it to me to go out now, anytime. A $20 bill is nothing. I get tips in my tip jar. A $20 bill seems like a $20 bill became a more of a standardized, a benchmark for what you pay for something. People used to complain, $5, like $5. You know what I mean? But people
You know
pay
what, though,
$20 to get in now, so that's why bands can actually. But you still have to have a good product, right?
I'm going to throw this out. So, you started a little earlier than we did, but we also, it's fair to say, you did too, and Nancy, you grew up in it. We came up in an era where, you didn't dress in a T-shirt and jeans. You had to have a show. You had to be rehearsed.
Oh,
and,
that's before my time with the matching suits.
Right,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know what I mean, right? But then you go through the 80s, and there's that really, you got to be polished. And then the 90s, everybody knows the 90s kind of upset. Well, I'm not going to say upset music, changed music. Yeah. I was in Toronto when I came back. My first go-to was, where are all the drummers? Why is everybody playing acoustic guitar and doing the same song? What the heck's going on? And so there was less of a polished we'll call it rehearsed thing, and it was more of a, hey,
4 or
man,
5-ton trucks full of light shows and PA systems
gone,
too. Yeah.
gone, right? But I think that's starting to come back a little bit. I think you got to, and I'll say it, and I said this before, I will not go to a bar, and Maurice, if you're playing, you will not see me folding my arms at the back of the room going, I can't believe he did that. And the only thing I ask is that when I'm playing, you do the same thing, right? So I'm going to respect you. I'm not playing, you are.
Yeah.
I'm in the crowd drinking beer.
And he's true. It's true.
Right? So, but I think there's this little bit of everybody's realizing they got to up their game a little bit. And this whole thing about people going out and, being, I don't want to say not a pro, but being
mediocre.
less than a pro.
Let's be honest. They call it mediocre.
I think you're going to see that start to fall down the hill a little bit.
It's already doing that.
Right. That's
Well,
what's
Nancy,
happening.
you're going to have your choice, your option of who you want to bring into this bar. Before it might have been, oh man, we need to get someone in a Friday night, or we're at risk of losing our license if we don't have live entertainment. But most of these bands, maybe they suck or whatever. You don't want to say that, but I mean it's true. You're going to have your choice of who you want to have in here, and that's a nice place for you to be in.
Well, and you know what? I asked Nancy yesterday about a date in May for somebody, and she said, I'm actually booked that day. And I'm thinking, oh, that would be pretty. So, I mean, think about that for a second, right? They're booking out that far.
Yeah, and we got. I mean, there's people that can be watching this stream from anywhere, and my heart goes out to places that are looking at us, going, "What are you bitching about?" They still can't even have a singer on stage or
that's
brass
fair.
horns or whatever.
That's fair.
Like Costa Rica, you can't sing. You have to play instrumental music, and you can't play wind instruments. Like that's those are that's March.
Well, brother, Ontario,
April,
it's shut down. We were talking to.
They started
Brother
opening
Brian.
up this week.
Oh yeah,
A little bit, dribs and drops.
Okay.
They did.
Yeah, but the hairdressers that are starting to
Sure.
be out in barbershops.
Well,
and stuff,
and
too.
Darby Mills, I mean, she put a really nice thing about our show on Saturday. She goes, stay safe, good luck. We haven't been able to play anywhere since March of 2020, which was this time last year, right? So back to that question, Nancy. You're booking that far out. Do you sort of feel like you're maybe getting to pick and choose, be a little bit pickier and not have to worry about, is that guy going to come in and tank? Like the quality is going to be that much higher with what's going on and how things have changed?
A little bit. I do, feel that I get to pick and choose, or, it's like, okay, I'm not going to pick you just because I need to fill that weekend.
Right.
I could hold you off till, the following month, whatever. I really want this band in this time of year, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of a little bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have always been a venue that, there's been lots of record release parties, special events. You get like April Assault and stuff like that, and it's always been a go-to place for that. And and that's great. And you're set up because you got the production, like the beautiful back line of equipment, and people come from all over Canada that know about this place.
That's right.
And that's where you get, that's. But the bars downtown, for example, right? Like I work at the Ale House a lot. Well, soon I'll be going back in there again. But that's another mom and pop operation, and I love those guys, and they're in the same boat as you're in, except actually I think they own the building, so that helps. That's a little bit handier.
Yeah.
But the point is that all those bars downtown, whether they're struggling or whether they're doing whatever they're doing, the demographic of downtown Halifax or the downtown of any city, when you get to the pub district, the bar district, it's like everybody could get in a big fight. You could get everybody in the bar. You could bar everybody, and then the next day you have a whole new pile of people. It's like this is. You guys have to really work it to get this place full, and you're not downtown. This isn't a place that people just go to. There has to be a reason to be here, and I notice the bands that are coming in and they're selling out, but they're not just selling out because people are starved to get out. Those bands really are good. They're working really hard. They're as excited to be here as people are to see them, and people are willing to spend more money to see a live
I think a lot of
entertainment now.
times, and we've talked about it a lot, and not to toot Nancy and I Red's horn, but yeah, toot, because you guys have done it right from the get-go. You have bands like Dress to Kill. You have bands like The Frequency. It's no offense, never would have came over to Dartmouth. It's not their
Well,
forte.
in fairness, there was never an opportunity for us to come over here because, our sort of model was Halifax, the Ale House, the Carlton, Cheers.
The pub district.
Right, and
yeah.
you would know this too, Mo. If we were playing Dartmouth, it was the Micmac AAC and it was a wedding.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it was the Holiday Inn or whatever. It was never a bar. And, and the thing was too is we never had an opportunity because the calendar was always full. Not to sound so ha-ha, but it was the point where we would have loved to play this place. And we did it once 2 years ago. We closed for Dress to Kill. But other than that, the Frequency show in March 19th and 20th. 19th, still a few tickets.
There you
20th
go,
sold
folks.
out. See, Maurice, I'm learning from you, brother.
There you go, brother.
But super excited about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that'll be the first time in, I think, 3 years, besides the video shoot that we did a month and a half ago, that this band has played over here. So
Funny, well, that's a clever segue, Sean McKenna. Let's talk about that for a second, because let's talk about the frequency gig, because the 20th show has been sold out. That was a carryover one that was supposed to happen on the 5th of December. It was, again, in Barstools and Bantock, our second live event, which it still will be, but we added another night, so that's the 19th. And it just so happens that tonight, right now, we're going to be able to draw for 2 tickets for that very show.
So give a shout out to our buddy Scott Forbes. So Scott ponied up, and he said, "I'm going to take 2 tickets. I can't make it. Please do something good with it." So we thought that right here. So if you can make your way over or pass the box over, maybe we'll let Nancy.
Come on over, Nance.
Don't make her get up. We got cords and everything here. Just pass the box over. And
Right in the bottom of that box, there's a whole bunch of names.
So
these are the people who actually had given us evidence that they had subscribed to our YouTube channel.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw one name for the 2 tickets because it's too hard to go.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
One
yeah,
name
yeah.
for.
One
So
name.
whoever gets this gets the 2
This
tickets.
is the frequency gig on the 19th of March, Friday night.
Ooh. Sherry Saunders Mills.
Sherry Saunders Mills.
Gets the 2
Ding,
tickets
ding,
to the
ding,
frequency.
ding,
on-
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You're a winner.
And
chicken dinner.
we should shout out that this lady is a huge historian of the music scene that Dave and I got her started in.
Big
and
time.
Mo was also part of. So Sherry, we'll get in touch with her to get her those tickets.
Winner.
We're going to do another little drawing in a little bit. For,
Yeah.
For some other stuff. So back. What's one of the things that we don't talk about with you guys? You guys do amazing food here,
Rock and roll hamburger. Just saying, rock and roll burger.
right?
Yep.
So, and we want to talk about so our band Side Hustle we put together for the Barstools and Band Talk. It's another sold out show. Really
Sold out
excited
show.
about it. We're telling people get down here early because it's going to take you a few minutes extra to get through the door, but grab some food. So talk to us about that because the food's incredible.
The food is pretty
What's
good
a
here.
Frunion?
A Frunion burger. So it was actually our love for just a good hamburger and French onion soup. So
It was
we
our
just-
Burger Week burger.
Yeah,
Ah,
so it was
okay.
our
That's
Burger
where it
Week burger for
started.
2020, and we're like, how can we combine the 2 together? So we figured out, it's like, okay, let's do this and this, and we'll have a little French onion soup au jus on the side. And then our very creative DJ, Randy Matthews, came up with a thing. a
DJ
couple-
Man Candy, you mean?
DJ Man
One of the
Candy.
sexiest DJs in Halifax if he's
was
out there.
wondering-
Good
He's out
Lord.
there somewhere.
I was
That
wondering
handsome
how-
man thing.
I was wondering how long it was going to take till we got that in.
Right.
So he came up with a thing the other weekend. It's like, it's the dip and twist burger. So it's like, you have to dip your burger in there, twist it, get your French onion soup, and eat it. And it's like, there you go. The dip
That
and
sounds
twist burger.
delicious.
Handsome and economical. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about food, I mean,
hungry.
and you guys, and I'm going to
Thanks,
say,
Amanda.
and this is a future subject. I'd like to bring this when we do one of these bullpens. I'd like to talk about that, the online part of this whole discussion. So you guys have always been a little bit forward thinking. You and Bruce too. Bruce as well. He's in the question. You guys have been on Instagram for like as long as I've seen Instagram. You're one of the first pubs that I've had since I don't really do Instagram that much, but you've always been promoting on Instagram. As long as I've seen Instagram, you've always been promoting on Instagram, and you always promote your food. You always promote your business. You've been promoting online a lot, and like that's the thing. Like there's no turning back. I mean, you're dead in the water if you don't now. But you guys were doing that a long, long time ago. And when the government's talking about with the selling food and stuff, like with the pandemic, like with the curbside, the pickups and the takeout and all that. Is that like? I mean, maybe some people had kept them afloat, but is that a practical solution for bars that are used to having entertainment? Like, I mean, you guys have a daytime food service, but imagine a lot of your daytime food service was sit down. It was people are coming from lunch, from businesses and come making lunch, but it must be almost impossible to do that. Like, some places might be because of where they're located, might have a better chance at it. But I was wondering about that. They say, well, it's promote the bars to help them out with the, but it must be terribly expensive and difficult to for that to really be a profitable solution in the light of this.
It's tough because we are, as you mentioned, we are a little out of the way, so we don't have a lot of walk-on traffic there. So over the years, we've done a lot with advertising. We've done newspaper, we've done radio. I mean, we've had big bands coming across here, you know.
But that was to get the people coming in. I'm just saying, like, you know,
yeah,
you
for
don't have
sure.
walk-by traffic. That's what I mean.
Exactly. So that's what we have to do. We have to figure out a way to give people a reason to come here, and that's the whole idea behind the stage that we got set up here with all this equipment, and part of why we were bringing the big bands here, the April Wines and the Troopers and all this, was
The
to
head pins.
is the head pins. Thank you very much. Shout out to Darby Mills. Part of the reason was for that reason, because we're out of the way, is to expose Monty's to people, you know, on the other side of the pond, as we say. And the same thing goes with everything that we do here. The same thing with the food. I mean, we find nowadays it's changing times now. It's all about social media. It's not
right.
about. It may not all be about radio or newspaper. Social media is what people got glued to their hip these days. So that's the whole idea behind that. I mean, we're on pretty much all the socials there. We have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, and
you've always been ahead of the curve that way.
well, thank you very much.
So, Nancy, what would your dad and your uncle have done for advertising back in the day?
Q104 and the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's funny how it's
Yeah.
changed. Now it's like, you know what? I can't remember the last time I got posters printed at Staples for an event.
Yeah.
You know, now everybody says make an event on Facebook and make an event. Now I still do. I've made some posters.
You know what?
I don't
Print
know.
posters are still pretty cool. We got
Yeah.
just a place to go.
You print it 40% off if you go and get
Yeah.
your posters
Yeah,
done.
but
now.
yeah, banners. Like I'm even saying, what you see now with bands and people that are playing on stools and stuff. But he has these the pop up banners and stuff like that, and you know that stuff's still visible within the. But you guys, your design team, the people that you have in your posse that makes that does your promotion, does your PR and all that. You guys have always had spectacular posters. And you'd come in here, and the wall will be filled with event posters, all like it's a throwback to those days, right? And you guys still have a great. You guys have a great design. You got a great logo. You have everything going for it, and you do it all online. You do, but but people, the actual physical posters on a wall. It's like the posters are beautiful, but now they're on your phone. Like I still design as many posters as I've ever. I just don't print them. It's all about social media.
If
It's
I could
all
pay
about
you a nickel
Instagram.
for every picture, every band that has that M behind it,
I
now,
know,
you could
that's-
retire tomorrow. I'm going to tell you right now. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
smart.
That's one of the smartest logos that the city's ever seen.
Bruce Nelson actually designed our logo.
Bruce
Yeah,
Nelson.
he
And
came
the
up with that
posters,
logo.
guys, is all Nancy. Nancy's the
Me and Bruce,
posters.
yeah.
I mean, it's one of the things I'm sure Nancy has learned. I'm sure we've all learned from the business here. Of course, I didn't know anything about lights. And I
You're
go
some
there
kind of a
and
light
we-
man. Just saying now, brother. Just saying.
I'm not really a light man. I'm a light operator. I consider myself a light operator.
Nancy and I've already
I
talked about
think.
this
I
before.
haven't
If you were
really,
approached by the right band, we know you'd be gone. Bye bye, family.
I
I'm
just
going on
don't.
the road.
I just don't know what the compensation would be worth leaving your day job for.
Yeah.
nowadays, but yeah, the
You grow his hair back.
The posters are something that Nancy's learned on the fly here.
But you
for
guys
sure.
have always been very, very, very ahead. You know, you always caught the eye. You know, and like I said, the Instagram, and you've always had a very, and that's the thing. I mean, and then being that visible, and still trying to pull people into a bar. It's a lot of work for you guys. You know.
Uphill all the
And
way.
you guys have been working it for years. I mean, I've had the pleasure to play here many times, and I know how hard it is. And especially with special events, that's like we did the Tragic Hip Tribute show a few years ago. We did it on a holiday weekend.
On a long
That's
weekend.
the worst, and one of the worst long weekends to do it on. And we did it, and we packed the place. But the Persuaders come in here on a standard weekend, and it was such a struggle. It was such a struggle, you know. But now I think you see with these special events, and you're promoting it, and we're promoting it, and everybody's in it together. It really is a village effort now. We've been saying this. I've been saying this since this pen. These are the things that are going to change. It changed the trajectory of everything. And when we get past this, I think we've all learned so much, and there's some people that are going to struggle with it. They couldn't adjust, right?
Yeah.
Listen, Sean and I are going out of our way to partner with the right venues, the right people.
Absolutely.
And you guys can, we can help get people here once, but it's up to you guys to keep them coming back. And you guys do an awesome job at that. Your staff does an awesome job at that. The meals, your cleanliness of the place, all that plays factor for people to
Just
want
the
to come back.
protocol, the protocol that they go through. That's
That's
another
right.
thing. How much is, people don't understand, what you have to go through just to safely stay open. I mean, you take the temperatures, you got the all that stuff. And we were the first one, like I said, that show you guys did this summer, the Barstools show. Like, there was. I don't know if I hate to ask that. I don't think you were probably terrified.
Yep.
Oh, we're jumping into the unknown.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, because something could have gone wrong,
Oh,
and every
yeah.
other bar in the city would have been screaming at you. Go, what? Look what you did! You know,
People want us to fail. I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah,
you
you've
know
got-
what? Not gonna lie. So we did it on
25th of July.
which was a
Yep.
Saturday. Sunday, it was just like, man, that was a lot of work. I go into work on Monday and find out that my company gets sold, so I didn't have any chance to think about the event. Then Tuesday, I'm like, I wonder if there's any blowback, and there was none, which was great, and it worked out really
But
well.
that's just a lot of hard work and making sure you thought of everything that could go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes people don't understand how much work it is. Like
No.
poor Colleen upstairs, that little teeny pub, and you have to stay 6 feet apart. But you come through the door and you're at the bar, and you have to. That's
it.
where people have to understand. Now it's where the rules are different, but people have to be educated. If you sit 6 feet apart, then there shouldn't be a problem. But it's like if you bottleneck, we have to figure out how people have to be educated. It's a common sense thing.
But
And-
God love Colleen, because before the Gypsy Show, we were up there because Doug McKay and Bruce are playing in the Hodads, so promised we'd go see them. And she makes the comment that she's terrified because of the 50 decimal rule and she's going to get in trouble. And it's like, I'm talking to you, Colleen Loudon, what that
Yeah,
is. It's
exactly.
And so I'm sitting here going, that's 6 weeks ago, and people still don't know what the
people
rules.
still-
So it's almost like we rehearsed this because
Yeah.
you talked about the event. And one of the things that was born out of that event was the fact that we want to put a little band together that we could use to go around and promote the bars. And so the very first one that we're doing is on Saturday night, Side Hustle.
Yep.
And that name was born out of, I'll take the credit. I kept saying I want to put a little side hustle together, and it kind of stuck. So Dave, you can give a shout out to the folks, but it's we're really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an event. It's going to be a different event. I think that certain members of the band people are going to be surprised because they're going to be seeing them in a different sort of format in a different sort of way. It's going to be a pretty cool night. But also want to get in there that our friends at Molson, who are one of our partners and one of your partners, are launching a seltzer that's going to be out, fingers crossed, that night. Black Cherry and Mango are the two first ones that are going to come out. Can't wait. So thanks to Molson for that. We promise we'll be on our best behavior. McKeegan and I were talking about doing beer shotguns in the parking lot before the show, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. that
Anyway,
probably happened.
Dave, why don't you give a shout out to
So the folks in that band, it started. Sean and I just looked. We haven't played together in a band since year 2000. Year before that was 1987, and it was time. We were bored. We wanted to do something. We were trying to put something to put together. Sean's main gig is obviously the Frequency. Like they usually will play 70, 80, 90 shows a year. So that's plus a full-time job. So that's his gig, and I'm pretty busy at work and a bunch of other stuff on the go. So we needed to do something on the side. A friend of mine, Ian McDougall, who I play with a couple of bands with, we had him come over, and Ian's actually the gentleman who wrote our theme song for the Barstools videos that you'll see.
So we had to put him in the band because we didn't want to pay him for that. So he got the gig.
That's kind of how it worked. And he had the PA system at the time.
Yeah, that's
so that worked.
Well, Dave has a rehearsal space, so guess what? He's in the band.
Yeah, because I'm cute and talented
Anyway,
and natural.
sorry.
So then we went from there, and we added. We had interviewed this lady by the name of Michelle Ryder, and Michelle was kind of a friend of a friend. I didn't really know who she was, and if you ever watch her YouTube videos, probably the most comical one that we have on there.
We got to talk about that for a second.
Everything that could possibly go. I might as well tell the truth because when we first started the show, I had just been evicted from my third house in the last 3 years.
It was sad times.
So it was sad times. I was living at my mom's there for a little bit. There had a little basement show going on for the Barstools, and I had
let me set it up a little bit because
okay.
a friend of mine has a pretty prominent security contract. So he had asked me if I could go and do him a favor and go watch this parking lot over in Halifax. And so I'm like, sure, no problem. So anyway, Dave's like, you remember that interview, right? And I'm like, well, what interview? And he goes, well, we're interviewing Michelle Ryder on, I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And I'm like, Dave, I got to go sit in this parking lot. And I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I'm close to a school. I can get Wi-Fi. So anyway, Dave sends me the link, and I click on it. He goes to the dollar store, and he gets green Bristol boards.
Yeah.
That was the green screen.
I'm Scottish. Don't forget that, right?
So meanwhile, I'm out of my truck trying to get Wi-Fi. It's pouring rain. Some guy's yelling at me because he thinks I'm trying to break into the car. And then Dave's like, let's introduce Michelle Wright. And she's there perfectly set up, all her gear. And Dave's head's disappearing. I'm trying to get Wi-Fi off the school. Some guy's yelling at me. So anyway, that was our introduction to Michelle Wright.
You can't wear blue when using a blue screen or a green screen behind you. I didn't know that because clearly any other features or colors go away. So yeah, I lost my hands and my face. So it's kind of a fun interview to watch. So we kind of
go on our YouTube channel, subscribe. You'll find that one.
Exactly, subscribe for sure. So we knew that she was a talent, and actually after our gig here, after the Barstools gig that we did on the 25th, we get sitting down and talk to her a little bit more, heard her sing some more. It's like, look, she's the one we got to get her in the band, Sean. So that was it. So then it was the four of us. I had tried to put together a Nexus Energy reunion gig with some of the original members from Nexus Energy back in 1987. And one of the original members of Nexus Energy was Dave McKeegan, a talented guitar player, but he was a bass player back then because, well, they already had a great guitar player. But he's done so many things over the years. He's played with Sam Moon, played with the Sponicle Band, played with Michelle at one point, too. Go ahead.
True story about that. 30-some-odd years ago, Dave and I were at the Misty Moon, Young Bucks, and we got a jam together, and it took 30 friggin' years for Dave and I to play together. That's how long it was.
That's a nice story.
Yeah.
I got a question here.
Yeah.
We're going to direct this to either you guys. One of you guys can take it. Wayne Schneer. He's actually.
Oh my God, Wayne.
Yeah, from the Wolf's Den and from CIOE. He's got a great question. He was asking about bars. He was saying, how come some bars have tables with X's you can't sit at the tables, and on some bars just you can sit at all the tables? And I know the bus there's a 6-foot rule thing and all that. But does it make it look like somebody has a different set of rules? You know what I mean? Like what here?
I think it's square footage, really. I mean, if you
but it's for distancing.
Yeah,
but okay. So you think putting an X on a table is wouldn't you just like move the tables or so that you have them in such just.
I think it's a total square footage thing. You may not have the room to move it anywhere where it's going to be.
I suppose maybe if they're bolted to the floor or something.
Well, maybe they may not have they may not have storage to put the tables away, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but okay, well.
Up at Kenny's Pizza, they have no place to put it. They have all their tables over in the corner that they can't use, right?
So I guess basically, I mean, they must have done the measurements and it didn't qualify. It was just like 5'5" or something like that or whatever. Yeah, okay. That's one question. I had to get that one in, Wayne. Thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah. So Dave McKeegan, wonderful guitar player, and he's in our Side Hustle band. And the last member was a former member of Dave's band, Rook, back in the early 80s.
Actually, they played here last year, did they not, Rook?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, Chris Monroe was.
That's right. Chris Monroe and Rob Barstow, an old alumni from Sean and I back at the Sweet Surrender days.
We got fired in every bar we played. I don't know if I ever told you that story. Every bar we played, we got fired. Won't happen Saturday night.
Can we get fired here?
I
I never thought about that. Shit, that would suck. And then so Darren Wadden is our new keyboard player, guitar player too. And he's just brought a whole lot more talent to this band. So we're super excited. But we've worked hard. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, and I don't usually work that hard, but we worked hard at this project. And I think folks that come here on Saturday night are going to be blown
I was surprised when I was talking to you guys and Michelle. I was asking, like, if you bored any songs from any of your other gigs, and she says, no, it's pretty set. Like from the
people see Michelle Ryder in a whole new guarantee.
No,
she's a rock chick now. We turned her into a friggin' rock chick.
You're not doing this you're not just blowing this out your arse. I mean, you guys actually did put the work in to learn a new batch of songs, and I commend you for that.
Well,
I know how hard it is. If I used to learn new songs,
I'm going to say something.
Are you coming, Maurice?
I'm going to do my damnedest.
Yeah. But here's what I'm going to say, and I'll say it again. This is a night to have fun.
Yep.
So we want everybody to have fun. If you're going to do the 1987 Crazy Horse thing where you're going to chirp me because I missed something or Dave makes a mistake,
There'll be many.
No. And I'm not saying you. I'm just saying come out and have fun. Enjoy the fact we're open again, and enjoy the fact that it's to promote music and promote harmony in the music industry. Just come out and have fun. Don't come out and do anything other than that, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to it. Yeah.
When it comes to that, that's a good point. Like when with the people that do, like I do a lot of live streaming. I got my show that I do, and I talk to a lot of people about it. And a lot of people before they go, they're nervous because they're going to make mistakes and stuff. I said, man, you got to get over that right quickly. There was a time when everybody was worried about this perfection thing, and right now it's about engagement. People need to be engaged. Yep. People need to be entertained. If there's somebody out there that's that much of a stick in the mud that go, I can't watch him because he keeps dropping that D chord or something like that. It's like, man, I can't help you.
You're missing the point.
You're missing the point.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at my website, Leslie designed my website, and the most it's a nice, she got nice pictures, and she did it up beautifully. But the one thing she did, and I didn't even ask her to do it, and she came up with the most amazing quote, is that to play a wrong note is insignificant. To play without passion is inexcusable. And, that's what it's all about. So, you know what I mean? The work that you guys put into the show and have a good time and you promote a good show, it's like when you have Gypsy or somebody like that or D2K. I was talking about this with Scott in my show. There's some people that might show up and they might start counting the rivets. Oh, that's not accurate.
Yep.
They're missing the point.
Totally.
They're missing the point. And it's all about engagement. It's about having fun with it.
It's a celebration, first of all, that
And
we can actually
soon-
do this in this province
Yeah.
because there's many provinces, many countries that can't do this, and we're really the envy in a lot of folks' eyes, that we can actually do this. So for God's
Absolutely.
sake,
So,
embrace it, enjoy it, support it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the thing. People that are picky, the time for being picky is over. It really is.
And again, I honestly don't care if you're going to come out there and have a puss on. We got your $10.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. No, that's right. No,
We ain't giving it back. In fact, it's already spent.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, absolutely. You can say it again too.
No, but we want this. And not only our show, any show that comes here,
Any
you
show.
want everybody to have a good time. You don't
Yep.
want, the dirty little secret is we as musicians are fortunate that sometimes we don't have to pay for stuff, yet we're always the ones that complain when you're at a gig. Don't do it. Just come out and have fun.
Exactly.
Because it's going to be fun. And on that note, we get another draw for
Let's do a prize. This is leftover. Not shouldn't say leftover. It's actually a beautiful sponsored gift from our good friends at Giant Tiger.
2 locations.
2 locations,
In-
one near you,
Yeah, one's in Fairview.
and one's in Woodlawn.
And one's in Woodlawn, owned by a very good friend of mine named Scott Guthrow, who every time we ask Scott for help and a favor and whatever, he's all in. Great guy. And we're going to do a draw. Nancy, you still have the package here?
Perhaps from the GT Boutique.
Right, so this is a, yes.
So this would be for, just grab that top prize, maybe right or Nancy, if you can grab it. It's a box, whatever the hell the box is. So you know what it is. You'd be surprised. There it is. Look at that. It's a monster trapper.
Look at that. So that'd be great if you're camping or...
Oh, it's a bug zapper thinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kills bugs
So,
dead.
so there's that, and there's... Are we going to do the... book?
Nah, we'll do two more. Friggin'.
Okay. The big wrap will be the...
Bell and House. Yes,
There you go.
that's not like
Nancy
GT
dug deep.
Boutique. Who's that? Who's getting that?
Is that... Laughing?
That'd be Doreen Laughing.
Doreen Laughing.
Doreen laughing. Yes, indeed.
It's
Doreen
not that
Laughing.
I couldn't read it. I just
You're able
couldn't
to
read-
kill.
I
This
couldn't
is
read
as
Dave's
seen on TV. Monster Zapper. You can kill bugs dead.
Courtesy
you
of
just-
Giant Tiger.
You just got a nice little segue. I know I'm not sure how long we're running the show tonight, but this segue, you just segued it beautiful.
Well,
I was-
it's because we rehearse so much. No,
Well, I
That's what we
know,
do.
but we're talking about sponsorship, and this could be a whole show in itself, and it might be down the road. We might bring this up. We'll bring somebody in a specialty in this, maybe somebody who, but sponsorship is so important now, and people that can, like, for example, like running streams and doing stuff online, like it's sponsor driven like never before. For events and stuff like that, like when the breweries come up. I mean, back in the old, here I'm going back to the old days, but we had beer sponsors in the old days, and they gave us
dude,
beer
I
and
didn't
stuff.
pay. I didn't pay for a case of beer for 12
You
years.
know what I mean? And those kind of things dried up. But now it's like beer sponsors they still exist, but everybody's sponsoring, and you know what I mean? Like anybody who's got a YouTube channel, they'll say, "Hey, listen, and this flashlight that I watched those shows that
We're not for sale, though, are we?
No. And I got masks for sale too. Just but people that have YouTube channels and all this and stuff like that. And look at this. I mean, we got people that are helping us out too. And Jason McCorston did some wonderful graphic work for this, and he did one for the roundabout as well. But what I'm saying is the sponsorship is like we never worried about it in the old days. If you were lucky, if you got a beer sponsorship, and we had Joyco, we had hair sponsorships.
Yeah, those are the good old days.
But right now,
Hair.
sponsors are starting to. Do you guys rely on any other than I know you get beer? The beer companies do kickbacks, some sort of thing, and the promotions and stuff. But do you find sponsors have kicked it up like a notch in your end of it too?
They definitely didn't kick it up.
No,
I think no.
no,
There you go.
really. They left it
No,
all on you guys'.
It's the liquor companies that are the biggest sponsors for us, but I mean.
But are they trying really hard to keep you in business? Because they know you're struggling, right?
Yeah, we have a great relationship with Molson. No question about it. We're a Molson bar, and we have a great relationship with them, and they do a great job. And I think it shows that they are trying to keep us as to stay a Molson
very
bar.
important.
Yeah, so I mean, we shout out to them, and we've gotten to meet lots of great people. Nancy's met Nancy and I have met people from Coldstream Distilleries, a local distillery here out of Stewiacke. We've got the Blue
Scotia Spirit Co.
Nova Scotia Spirit Co. as well, with their blue lobsters that have been, one time you couldn't even get them in the liquor stores. They're so they were so popular. But all of those companies, they're under extreme financial stress as well. So I think the extent to which they can offer sponsorships is difficult for them as well.
Okay, but being a
That
liquor,
surprises
okay,
me.
yeah.
To be honest, it does, because I'm thinking
the
about-
liquor stores never closed.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit surprised about that, to be honest. And I don't, and I'm not trying to call them out either. But I mean, holy mackerel! It's like, it's like we're all in this together. I'm hoping that maybe these, some
You
of
do
these
need
folks
to
see this.
understand too.
They
though,
need you to be open. They can't run unless they can
But
sell their product.
You do
too.
have to understand our friends that we talked about at first, which was government regulation or over regulations. It changed a lot of rules about what you were able to do in terms of giving away alcohol.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
You would remember, that the smoking
God.
ban was coming on. We didn't know when. Put a smoking room in, and everybody did that. And then 10 months later, it was done.
Didn't even a chance to get it paid off. That's right.
Yeah. So I don't think we should beat up too bad on those guys, because I think that, again, they're
I'm not
handcuffed.
beating up on them. I'm just
No.
saying the importance of
Right.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes they're just not able to because of overregulation and what have you.
But
right?
the value of sponsoring now is a lot different because of the social media, because of with all the streamings and all that. Like, there's people out there that are knocking it out of the park online, and like a little live stream, like you guys are starting to really, there's people all over the country watching us tonight. You know what I mean? Now, not everybody's going to be here to buy supper or anything like that, but they're
Not just
but,
this
but you're-
country now, Maurice. We're in 33 different countries
Yeah.
now, and 102 different cities.
There you
just
go.
saying.
There you go. But the thing is, a sponsorship, you can get a lot of value out of sponsoring these days, because you can sponsor a little bar in a corner somewhere, put a poster up, and sponsor a band that plays around the city, and get a little bit of return on that. But I can go online and I can reach 33 different countries or whatever, right? And it could. But granted, some of the sponsors, if it's a local business, they may not really matter so much. But I do have a pretty good popular online following. I reach way more people online than I ever did playing in a bar. I really do. And I think the sponsors, I wouldn't say they have a responsibility, but they're also part of this village now. And we're starting to rely on one another, and like sponsors, that's just great. Just having a draw like this, that's a way that hit more people than the 80 people that would be in this bar for an event like that.
Sure.
And I think the sponsors are starting to realize the value of sponsoring right now to get the economy going. It's almost like an underground economy in itself. You can't go out in public, but you can do it online safely, so you still get the word out.
Clever segue. Let's
And
have
you-
another draw.
Well, just
from
one
our
second,
There you
Mike.
go.
Just before you, a number of years ago used to work at the Chamber of Commerce, and the gentleman who actually was my boss, who I used to sell sponsorship, golf tournaments, events, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And his line was basically, sponsorship is one thing, partnership is another. The impression that some people get when you say sponsorship is you have your hand out and it's one-sided. When you have a partnership, you're going to work equally together. And so what? Sorry, I had an itchy ear. But it's live TV, right? But so when you get into, you think sponsorship, you think of, name bars on the back of a hockey jersey or something.
yeah.
You think partnership, we're going to talk to Nancy and Arette, and whatever we're going to do, they're going to do, and we're going to meet in the middle, and we're all going to work together. And so I think that's, when you start thinking in those terms, I think that it really...
Well, this is a shining example of partnership.
Well, this, to be fair, Nancy and I were our very first corporate partner. That was it. It was Monty's, and it was.
But they
it-
trusted you that you would put the man
Well,
to
we
work,
trusted them.
reciprocate.
So he was.
yeah.
He was again.
no, they
it was-
didn't. We showed up here with Jackie.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Jackie. Okay. Thank Jackie. There you go.
I was down on one knee. Actually, no, that'd be Dave. Dave would. No, forget it. I'm not
He
going
was
to.
down on both knees.
Anyway, let's get to the. Next draw.
Can I get another, please?
Well, that the 7-second delay hopefully kicked in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do. Hey, do we want to? We got I think 3 things left there.
No.
That was the last one.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Oh
So,
yeah. What's that?
This is cool. This is a light.
That was a camera.
Well, it is an HD camera, so you can put it on. You can film yourself.
Is it price six?
Body cam? Is that a body cam?
It is a body cam. That's a $50 value right there.
Are
from
you
Giant.
kidding me?
Yep.
Wow.
See?
This is my house that whole time.
I was going to say, yeah, good thing Dave didn't see that.
Yeah,
we would
you
have
guys
it on
could have
the table.
started your own live stream show, and you could have kicked me out of the picture. See,
Miss Tina Fougier.
Oh my!
That scares me a little bit. I won't
Yeah.
say why, but anyway, you
Maybe
won.
we should pick another name.
Yeah, you won the body cam. Great.
Jesus, Lord God.
We'll put that back.
Okay. Can
We're
we
gonna-
pray for her?
We're gonna have one more draw before we wrap it up.
That's a bad idea.
So a couple little odds and sods here. A couple little odds and sods. There was a poll that was done about 2020, and the poll was, what was the most annoying phrase of 2020? Anybody wager to guess what that was?
Unprecedented times.
You got it.
Da,
I wish I had
da,
some-
da,
yeah.
da, da, da,
Yeah.
da.
Unprecedented times. Little place of interest. So there you go. I'm glad I got that off the plate.
Was that just your poll?
What's that?
Was it just your
No,
poll?
you go find it. It was a big deal.
Sorry.
It was a big deal. There was another little thing.
I wasn't a big fan of moist talking. That one bugged me.
talking moistly.
Yes. Anyway, yeah. We've
Stay
come-
the Blazes home. That was
Wow. Yeah.
I
Anyway.
my own version of that.
Yeah.
We put that on
Anyway.
our sign one week.
What's that?
We put that on our sign one
Stay
week.
the boys at
I
home.
see. Yeah, that's what I think. That he hit that out of the park
No,
myself.
he did.
He did.
Absolutely did.
Well, you know why? It came at a great time because people weren't listening, and it's interesting because say what you want about Premier McNeil, he had a very hard job.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't sign up for that.
He did
No,
not.
Jesus, no.
Nobody would have wanted that. Dr. Strang, the same thing.
Yep.
We're not gonna rip on that.
Never.
He's kind of got this MO as being a little bit of a heavy hitter, and maybe sometimes he's a bully, but he was getting pissed off, frankly, and that's where that phrase came out. And I know some people that know him, and that was totally him. That wasn't scripted.
No.
That was just like, what do you think? And that's what he came up with. So good on him. That made that put us on the map internationally. So
In a good way. In a good way.
100%, 100%. And so the segue that I'm reading, there was an article in the New York Times that I read, was through another site. They talked about Atlantic Canada, in particular Nova Scotia, more or less in the coming months. We're going to be be on the back end or the bad end of some bullying because of the way things have gone for us. And the angle that they approached is that we're too apple pie, we're too high in the sky, we didn't have it hard enough, and everybody's going to ignore our region, tourists and stuff. And I just thought it was a bizarre
That's a weird
interview.
thing to say.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I just found it really, really strange.
If you want to look at any kind of divine intervention, I mean, I say Nova Scotia had the worst effing year we've had in our entire lifetime, in all of our lifetime.
They're missing a few little events that kind of
like,
came.
yeah,
absolutely.
like
bumps in
you
the
talk
road,
about
yeah.
Portapic, you talk about the family of the losses. I think that was probably anything, a little bit of karma that came back. If you want to believe in cosmic stuff, shit, that's I think it was.
No, and I think too is like
The New York Times can kiss my
that gives
ass.
us if anything, like I know if I was living in a place that was ravaged by a pandemic, and I wanted to get away from it, or if I had the opportunity when it was over, I want to go to the place that's the most pristine of a. We almost have a pristine perception, like they didn't get sick, and it was. It's almost like we don't have a blue zone.
No.
But it's almost like we are living in a blue zone, and I think if anything, that would attract people to our region. So
Well,
that is a bizarre statement.
So I'll tell you something else too. So a friend of mine works for the Port of Halifax, and they canceled the cruise season for this coming year. They have cruises booked for 2020. They know how many ships are coming in 2028. So they're already thinking optimistically about the future, which is fantastic. But I think this whole thing, more than anything else, gave people the thought that, hey, this province is pretty darn nice. You can go within 3 hours one way, 5 hours the other, and see some pretty nice scenery. And I think a lot of those dollars that might have gone elsewhere stayed here, and I think that might help turn the corner in the summer, because who knows? I don't think you're going to see a lot of traveling take place in the summer. Great time to come to Monty's, all the shows that are going to take place. Wow. Brunch on Saturday
Nice.
and Sunday.
Sunday, oh,
Right?
the Funyun burger. No, I'm just saying.
I'm getting really excited for that pool party, the Retset that he's having.
Yeah,
I want
right
to see
on.
that Speedo you were talking about. I don't,
on a serious
really.
note, though, for example, like we
Surely you don't.
we tried to get the PEI last spring,
Yep.
and of course the pandemic shut the plans even down for that. And but we're gonna go do some camping with I have a
Yep.
nice little trailer that we actually built.
Why
it.
not
It's
explore the problems that we live in?
well, I did a little bit of that before, and I couldn't believe it. I played in every bar in Nova Scotia, but I missed all the good stuff. And I did that before. I did a little bit of traveling, some little spots. And there's a lot of places that are still on the list. And I think you're going to find people. Okay, so they got the borders. The borders aren't going to be open for a while. They're not people. That,
I'm
there's
camping
some,
in Portland Hills this summer.
There's a lot of places, and I think you're going to see that. You're going to see they did it some degree. Was everybody's still pretty nervous last summer, but I think people are starting to realize we have to live with the pandemic. You know what I mean, in a responsible way. And one of the best things to do is to explore your own backyard.
Yeah.
And I really do think you're right there. I think you're going to see a lot of people just getting in their cars and their campers and all that, and they're going to take their vacation time, and they're going to go and do stuff. They're just not going to go to the States, or they're just not going to go, to Quebec or somewhere. I feel bad. I mean, but the people in Quebec will probably stay home, and they'll do their own backyard as well. We have a beautiful place with a lot of resources and a lot of really neat places that that are unique to us and the planet.
Some great people. To be
Yeah.
honest. That's This is it. It's
So
the
I think
people.
we're that it's a testament to our personality. Like the people here are great. We're great, and we care about one another by and large.
We do.
We really do. And
So I think we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we do.
This is a very good show. Glad that we finally get to do. Just one more. Was there any more comments,
I
feedback?
was just going to check, and I
Yeah.
hope people aren't disappointed. We get so wrapped up in talking.
Sean and I were
amongst
talking about this
ourselves.
today, and I think we have one more prize to give away.
We do, but before we do,
There's a cat in the bag. I
no.
bet.
Before we do, again, we can't overstate the job you guys did
my
when you
God.
opened back up. We joke around about getting our temperatures done and all that stuff, but the first time everything happened, we were out. I felt safe in every bar that I went to, but this place in particular, because I knew I was going in, there's going to be no surprises, and it was great. So anybody out there, right, if you have any fears whatsoever, have none, because you're safer here than I think you are anywhere. You got to support these guys if you want them to stay around, because we certainly do.
Listen, do you know folks, seriously, do you know folks who have gone out of business? Like, is there people that you've known that are no longer in business anymore, that are they're on the cusp
We
of...
brought this out a half hour ago. This is a long discussion, just this.
Not me. No.
Yeah.
We've seen. I mean, I know Mike Connie lost one of his stories.
Well, yeah,
that was kind of pre-COVID.
It was, and I mean, one of the things is, I think that without naming names and whatnot, I mean, people could figure out who it was, or what have you. But I just think you had a combination of a couple things. You had people that were probably holding on for dear life before it happened, that it wiped them out. Yeah. You had some other people that were doing okay that they got wiped out because. Then you had some other people that just said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm tired of not getting the info. I'm tired of not being told, and they just said, "Frig it, I'm done with it," which is too bad because, if you think about the amount of money that this industry puts into the economy, everyone from your staff to the beer companies to us when we play here, and people don't think in those terms. They think because it's fun. It's not essential. It's not real. And we got to get past that because this is a real stinking business. They're paying bills.
Yeah.
If they don't pay bills, people are knocking on the door. And I think it's very important that people understand that.
Yeah. And they provide a real service. It's not just a mass gathering of sin. There's a social need.
That's a great way to put that.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever. It's kind of fun. We had this talk with Erin Benjamin last week, and some of the stuff that she said it haunted me a little bit. We're not saying we have to be more important than the elderly or the folks that are sick or dying or whatever, or the children. But it's like, we still want to have our place in line. Live music has to have its place in line. You can't just keep pushing the back to the back to the back to the back. There's needs there. There's real needs, and you folks as small business owners have real needs. Real bills and real staff that needs to function. So.
All right, there, Colombo. So let's get to the draw. We got to get out of here. We had a good wrap, and all of a sudden we had a soliloquy.
Cut back in again.
Here we go. So
you got the big words too, brother. There
listen,
you go.
man, I'm more than a pretty face, Mo. I'm more than a pretty
Yeah,
face.
okay.
So what this
Not
is,
much more.
yeah. Anyway, kills you every time. What this is, so we because we've had some success here at Monty's promoting the shows. We've been asked, the Side Hustle band's been asked to go out, and so I think it's just the week after, or 2 weeks after.
Well, we're sold out here. So the next week after, we're here. We're over to the Capital
Sports Bar. So we're going to do 2 tickets to that, and then that'll be it. But before we do that, we announce the name. I want to thank you two.
Yeah, for sure.
On a Tuesday night, hopefully people understand. Like when they come here on Saturday night, there's a lot of work that goes into, and I know it because I talk to you guys all
And
the
it's
time
the
over phone.
two of them that do it. It's not some corporate entity.
right.
It's,
It's
a
mom and pop. It's mom
There
and
they
pop.
are.
It's mom
There's
and pop.
mom. There's pop. Go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So
Go
hopefully,
on.
hopefully you guys aren't getting embarrassed by this, but we know the work that goes into it. We know, Zach Lacey
And
back
more
there
so
on
than
the
ever.
board.
And more
Right.
than ever.
Bruce
Yeah.
Nelson,
Right.
your entire staff.
I'm not going to forget anybody. Let me get to her. A red on the lights. What's your cook's name, by the way?
Kenny.
Kenny in the back.
DJ Mancande.
DJ Mankin. Name your staff that are here, because I don't want to forget anybody, and they all do such a great
Oh my
job.
God, I don't want to forget anyone either. We have Jamie, Jimmy, Julie, Rula, Penny, Corinne is a new staff member, Ashley,
Karen.
Zed, DJ
Karen.
Tracy, Karen.
And you keep bringing back
I
staff,
think
too. Jen
that's
was here
it.
the other night working, was she not?
Who?
Jennifer was here the other night working.
Jennifer Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Lewis.
Jennifer
Jennifer
Lewis,
Lewis,
yeah.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
and to
Jennifer
add to that.
Johnson.
And Jennifer.
And to
Johnson,
add to that, you got because of this place, it's a pretty special place for people who haven't been here. And if you live in the area, you got no excuse.
Yeah.
If you're from far away, if you ever come here, you should come here because it's a
You're
pinnacle.
seriously, you're
it-
11
it's-
minutes from downtown Halifax.
and I mean, it's
Why not come here instead?
it's I'm not saying it's kind of a throwback to the
Oh, absolutely.
and-
It's a
and-
total
but it's
throwback,
but it's also it's cutting edge. It's high tech. The bands love it here. You get great sight lines. The sound is impeccable. The shows are great. But also it's such a good venue. You get guys like Jerry Ham. He'll come in here, he'll video bands because he loves here. He loves being around you guys. He loves
Yeah.
being around the entertainment. You get Zach that comes in. I mean, he learned. He cut his teeth doing sound, coming here on slow nights, just doing it when you got people that are so loyal to you,
Yeah.
and they're not on the payroll. You know,
Yep.
and,
Stephen Ruxton.
yeah,
the
Steve
great
Ruxton,
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
like
Ruxton.
another one, you know, yeah.
Oh,
you know. And that
and if we
says
could-
a lot about you guys as owners of this park.
If we could, so Steve Ruxton, we talked about his calendars there
Yep.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I
He
think they're
got
just about
them
ready.
he got them yesterday.
Right on.
So anybody that's out there that got a calendar from Steven, he's super proud of it. Let me tell you, you see,
He should be.
I haven't seen it yet, but yes, that guy. Some of the shots that he got at our video shoot were just incredible. He's a great guy that was kind of not knowing how to get this thing out, and Greg down at
Really
Heat help
happy for him.
It's awesome.
Greg Sinclair, big thanks to you, Greg. So yeah, let's draw for this now.
Yeah, we're going to do the draw for this, but again, didn't want to. So get down here to Monty's. I keep forgetting the address because my card just
245 Waverly Road in Dartmouth.
245 Waverly Road.
Worth the drive.
Now
All right.
the kitchen's open Wednesday now, right?
Yep.
The kitchen's open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the 5 to 9, and then Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 6.
12 to 6.
All right. So the 2 tickets to the Capitol Sports Bar show
For
are,
side hustle.
I thought we'd have less interrupting on this, but
No,
no. Apparently,
no,
we get
just
more.
as much.
Don't look
Sometimes
at him.
more.
You
He
do
picks
understand,
on you,
right?
but
Like,
I'm worse.
all the
More.
stuff that you see, like people just does he like it's
Not-
right? Is it set up and it's not?
Who's here?
Like we
A
actually
tripping
bold
cow.
these down so that I can't throw them across.
boo.
Tam Roselle.
Oh, right on.
So, guys, ladies, gentlemen, we want to thank everybody. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Arette.
guys are
Thank
great.
You
Thank you
guys,
for-
all three
no.
of you guys. You
Yes.
guys do a wonderful job.
Thank you
and
guys
it's a lot
for-
of work, I know.
And thank you guys for bringing light to all this stuff here, local businesses, the live music
And we're not done.
industry, and so big shout out to you guys.
No, we're just
You guys
getting
do
started.
great
We're just
stuff.
getting started. So, thanks, guys. On that
months.
note,
And you guys out there, keep supporting us.
yes, we need that. I think our next show, if we're not mistaken, we're going to do a piece on what's going on in sports and how that's affecting everything from the little kids right up to the folks that are making some serious money.
That's right.
So, with letting the cat out of the bag, which is the second most annoying phrase of 2020, I'm Sean,
I'm Dave.
And I'm Mo.
and we'll see you later. Ciao.
Peace out.
Maybe.